Hello, everyone. Today is Friday, April 22nd. I want to invite you all to another episode of Live with David Lewis. I am David Lewis, your host, and I am so happy to be here with you. I hope you're all doing well and being safe. Everything should be good here. So today's topic is a great topic. It's a topic I really love, and it's why do customers object? One of the things we have to acknowledge is that people are going to object. We're trying to sell them a high ticket item. We're trying to extract money out of them, lots of money. I've asked you numerous times, should the customer be afraid of you? And the answer is yes, they should be. Why? Because you are a professional salesperson. They are not professional buyers. They, do this once every 4 or 5 years or once every couple of years if they have multiple cars in their family. So people object, and they're going to object. Now, in today's environment right now where inventory is low and, prices are high, are we getting less objections? Yes. Are we able to say to a customer, listen, if you don't want it, someone else will buy it. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. Yes, that is. Do I think that's loosening up a little bit? Yes, I think that's loosening up a little bit. Some manufacturers are actually getting cars. Some dealerships are getting cars. And so we're starting to come through this. The price of used cars is starting to drop a little bit. So things are changing, and we've got to get back on track and start training, studying, preparing ourselves. So the first thing you have to understand is you can't close everybody. Let's get that right out. Nobody has a 100% closing ratio. Nobody has an 80% closing ratio. Nobody has a 50% closing ratio. You're not going to close everybody that comes into your dealership. People are going to object. And you've got to also remember that some people really want to go home and think about it, and you did nothing wrong. And some people really want to go and drive other cars, and you did nothing wrong. I will tell you, I am not going to buy on the spot. Am I going to buy within 24 or 36 or 48 hours? Yes. When I'm looking for a car, might I go drive 1 or 2 cars? Yes. So you're not going to close me the first time I'm in the dealership, unless maybe I already know exactly what I want. And that happens. So not everybody buys. You can't close everybody, and it's not always going to be your fault. The second thing you have to understand is that your whole process, your whole sales process comes to a screeching halt if you're on the wrong car. Now, again, I understand inventory low. People are taking cars they don't really like. They're not 100% thrilled with because it's a car and they want a car. I get that. But if you are on the wrong car, the odds are you're not going to close them, and you have come to a screeching halt. And here's the problem you have. If you're on the wrong car, by the time you realize this, when you're closing the deal, nobody wants to go back and start that process over again. They're tired, they're exhausted, they're deflated. You're mentally frustrated at this point in time. Sure, you will go back and start the process over again. So it's so critical, I'm going to talk about it a little more in a few minutes, that you are on the right car. So what causes most objections? Why do people object? Well, the first reason they objected because you did a poor presentation and demonstration. You didn't sell your product. Maybe you're in an environment now where you think that just saying, here is the car is good enough because you don't have much inventory. You made a lousy presentation and demonstration. Folks, this is not hard to get good at a presentation and demonstration. Whether you sell Hondas, Toyotas, Chrysler, Chevys, Kias, Honda, it doesn't really matter. And the best part of all is if you sell Fords today and you go sell Hondas tomorrow, you're still going to take your basic presentation skill steps with you. The only thing you have to learn is product knowledge. So you got to get good at that presentation. You got to know everything, every angle of the presentation. We could talk about that more in a few minutes. Second reason is that there was a poor demonstration drive. And I'm being very loose by saying demonstration drive. I believe, you will not change my mind, that the salesperson goes on every demo ride. Now, I also understand with COVID, we're still a little bit cautious and safe. In some markets, we're not doing that. And I get it. And I understand that. And I want you to be safe. And I want you to feel comfortable. And I want your customer to feel comfortable. But a lot of you are doing the traditional demo ride again. And a poor demo drive is creating bad objections. That's why people are objecting, because they're not sold on the vehicle. You cannot take me on a 6-minute lap around a block and let me think that I want to buy this car. I might like it and say, yeah, I like it, but it's just not going to happen. And I know a lot of you are going to cringe when I tell you this. And I've preached this for decades. If you're not doing a 20, 25, 30-minute demo ride, you're not selling anything. Yeah, you're bumping into car deals. I get that. You want to make gross and make people feel good about themselves. Take them on a 30-minute demo drive. Let them drive the car where they want. I've always done a destination journey. So I've always picked a destination in my mind that's at least a 15-minute drive. Are you familiar with the mall? You're familiar where the airport is, or a historical site in the area? Sure, everybody knows that. Great. Let's use that as our destination point. You drive us there. If you guys want to switch, we can drive back. However you want to do it. I want them in the car for 30 minutes. And I let them take the route and the path they want to go. I don't say turn right, turn right, turn right. That's not a demo drive. That's a lap around the block. Let them get out there and enjoy the car. And if you really want to be good at this, when you're on that demo ride, don't say a word. Let your customers create the dialogue. When you talk, you threaten people. When you ask questions, you threaten people. I know you're going to say, well, my questions aren't threatening. Well, they're not threatening to you because you do it every single day. If you let that customer control the dialogue, let them ask the questions, you'll end up in a conversation. They will ask you questions that you can then ask back. They might ask you, where do you live? And you say where you live. Then you could say, so what area of town do you live in? Or they might ask you, do you like selling cars? Then you could say, yes, great. Well, what kind of work do you guys do? Let the customer control the dialogue. It lowers their defensive posture and it creates less objections at the end. Another reason we get objections caused by is lack of product knowledge. I mean, if you don't know your product, I can't buy something you don't understand. And finally, this goes with the demo drive and the qualification, is you ask bad questions and you get the customer defensive. If you ask me what my budget is, I'm going to lie to you. And then you're going to show me the wrong car. Then I won't like it because it's not what I want, because you put me in a car that you thought I could only afford. And now we're in a bad situation. And then you're going to get, I want to go home and think about it, which you're not going to be able to overcome. Or if you ask me what my timeline is, how I'm paying cash or financing, who else is involved in the buying, these questions are not important. It's not like now you have 500 cars in inventory. Some of you that used to have 200 cars in inventory now have 40 cars in inventory. It doesn't take long to show them all the cars. Let people peruse through there, see what they like. It's like a grocery store. They put the most popular items in the back, in the corner, so you walk by everything to see other things. Say, oh, you know what? Let's grab this. That looks good. I want to try this tonight. Whatever the situation may be. So when you ask bad questions, you get bad answers and you create a defensive person. So what does this mean? Most objections, listen carefully, most objections are caused by the salesperson, not by the numbers. And I believe in that wholeheartedly, 100%. It's not the numbers that causes it, it's the salesperson. It's your attitude, your personality, your presentation, your demonstration. It's the questions you ask. It's putting them on the right car. You can control this. Now, is this going to eliminate objections altogether? No, people are still going to object. I've always believed there are good objections and bad objections. Good objections are the ones I can overcome. Bad are the ones that I can't overcome. I want to go home and think about it is not a good objection to me. That is a hard objection to overcome. You know, you're not giving me enough for my trade. Great objection. I know I have a buyer. It's just a matter of negotiating. We'll talk about that in a second. Now, you also have to understand there's two types of objections when people object. There's what we call sand objections and cement objections. So a sand objection is one you can easily maneuver around. You can overcome. You're not giving me enough for my trade. That's a sand objection. We can overcome that situation. A cement objection is going to be something that's more difficult, like I want to go home and think about it, or I want to go look at this before I make a final decision. Those are objections you are not going to overcome. If I say to you, I want to go look at something else, you're not going to take me inside, show me a spreadsheet of the pros and cons of the car side by side to not make me want to go look at the other car. All you're going to do is make me mad, make me more defensive, and then I'm not going to want to come back to you. So why is it important to know why customers object? Well, it's really simple, because we're like doctors, okay? And I can't prescribe the right medication to you unless I know what the underlying cause is. So when you object, I got to know why, and that's part of my presentation and demonstration. And not knowing what the underlying cause is, then I don't know what I'm going to prescribe to you. What's the right course of action for me to take to overcome your objection? Now, let's talk for a minute about price objections. This I can overcome, but this I can also make go away or minimize the amount of price objections you get. It's all based on your presentation and demonstration and the value you create. So consider this. If you've got a vehicle that sells for $50,000, but you only make a $30,000 presentation, and then you ask them to pay $50,000, well, you better expect a price objection because you haven't created enough value. You just haven't created enough value. The price is, the value is below what the car is worth. If they don't do a demo ride, if they're on the wrong car, and you're giving them that $30,000 presentation for the $50,000 car, they're going to tell you it's too much money. Now, you might close the deal, and in the old time, 2-3 years ago, we'd make no gross, and that's going to come around again. We're going to be giving cars away. This is not a forever situation. But if you take that $50,000 car and you make a $60,000, $70,000 presentation, I mean, you really do that. Well, you know what? Now that $50,000 price, well, it sounds fair. Same car, two different outcomes, two different presentations, two different scenarios of customers. Same customer, same car, two different presentations, two different outcomes. You've got to remember that, you know, and I hear this all the time. Well, people, they want a faster process. They want to get in and out. You know, they want to be in and out in 90 minutes or less. There's a trainer out there that says, I can teach you how to sell a car and deliver it in 90 minutes or less. Well, that's hogwash. It's just me personally. Okay. You can't sell a car in 90 minutes or less. And people, I've talked to people, I've studied people, they're not complaining. The 90 minutes, it's not the presentation that's taking too much time. It's once they decide to buy the car. That's what's killing you. So I've spent 2 hours there. I'm getting tired. Now I decided to buy the car. Now I'm there another hour and a half to go through your process, your F&I, your delivery process. That's what they're telling you takes too much time. Nobody is going to come. Actually, you know, when I say nobody, there's always somebody. Most people don't want to come into a dealership and spend $80,000, $50,000, $30,000 in 20 minutes or less. Now, again, yes, some people know exactly what they want. They're going to walk in and say, this is what I want. This is what I'm willing to pay. Either sell it to me or you don't sell it to me. Okay, I get that. But it's, if you slow it down, and I've told you this, and we've talked about this before, and I hate this word, and you're all taught this, you got to build rapport with the customer. Again, hogwash. You're not going to build rapport with me. You are a car salesperson. Your job, we have two different agendas. Here's you coming into the dealership in the morning. You want to sell a car, you want to sell it to me today, and you want to sell it to me for as much money as you can. Here's me coming into your dealership as a customer. Well, I don't want to buy the car today. I want the car I want, and I want to buy it on my timeline. We're going to butt heads. We don't have the same agenda. There's no way you're going to get rapport with me. You've got to get that out of your mind. But I'll tell you what you can get. You can get me to like you. Totally different word. Rapport is something that's developed over time. It's a trust word. I'm not going to trust you. You're a car salesperson. We're not going to have rapport. I'm not inviting you to the family barbecue. But I can like you. I can enjoy being around you. And the more I like you, the longer I'll stay with you, the more I'll listen. If I'm having fun, people like to have fun. Make the process fun. You know, people always used to joke with me. I'd say, you know what? When I retire, I think I'm going to go sell cars again. Why would you do that? Because I make it fun. It's fun. It's a lot of fun to have someone come and buy a new car. The more fun you're having, the more fun they're having. So chill, relax, enjoy the process. Don't make people threaten. Don't make people feel uncomfortable. So some other reasons customers object, and we'll wrap up. I see some questions already popping in. Okay, is one of them is societal instincts. Okay, it's they think they have to object. It's the way to do it. Everybody is going to say to you, the payment's too high, the price is too much, you're not getting enough for my trade. Again, you got to look at those as good, solid buying signs. Okay, we talked about this before. We're on the wrong car, and I can't emphasize that enough. And you got to stop asking people, what's your budget? Nobody gives you the real number. I'm not going to come in there with a $500 budget and give that all up to you. I'm going to tell you it's $400. You're going to show me a $400 car. I don't like the $400 car. I really want the $550 car. You're not going to show it to me because you don't think I can afford it. And I'm going to leave it. I'm going to go buy something somewhere else. Another reason people object is because they just don't like you. Okay, let's face facts. Not everybody likes everybody, but they don't like you. And if they feel pressured in any way, shape, or form, they're not going to like you. The other thing is if they smell fear in you as a salesperson. If there's a fear, if you're scared, if you're timid, if you're shy. Some people are just afraid to make a decision. Let's face facts. Some people just don't have the guts and the wherewithal to make a final decision to buy a car, and that's normal. Sometimes people object because they see that the salesperson has no confidence when they present their numbers and overcome their objections. Folks, I can't tell you enough how important it is. when you present your numbers, present them with confidence. You just made a $60,000 presentation on a $50,000 car. And then present your numbers however you present them. I don't care. I don't care what kind of presentation you make, if it's a Foursquare, if it's multiple payments, however you do is fine. But at the end, don't try to trick me. Just ask me those 7 most effective words to closing a car deal. And that is present your numbers and then ask me, Mr. Lewis, would you like to buy the car? And then shut up. I'll give you an answer. I might just say yes. You never know. But I'll tell you something I'll never say, and nobody will ever say, just no. It's not logical. Would you like to buy the car? No. That's not logical. Would you like to buy the car? No, I don't think you're giving me enough for my trade. Or no, the payment's more than I want to spend. Or no, we want to go look at something else before we make a final decision. But ask me. None of this circle what works best for you. How do you want it registered and titled? You're trying to trick me. You've done a great job. I like you. Ask me to buy. You've earned that right. Sometimes people object because the salesperson acts desperate. I mean, you cannot act desperate. I understand some salespeople struggle to get to their numbers. You know, what's the best way to get out of a slump? I'm asked this all the time. Stop trying to sell cars. Stop trying so hard to sell a car. That's the only way you're going to get out of a slump. Sure, you can go back to the basic steps. I've heard that 1,000 times, and I believe that works. But if you're not selling any cars, stop trying to sell a car. And then you're all of a sudden going to start selling cars. It's like, you meet the guy who says, I met Sally when I wasn't looking for anybody. But when you're looking for somebody, you can't meet Sally. So stop trying so hard. Another reason why customers object is because we have poor listening skills. We talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. That at the end, people just want to leave. So they say, we want to go home and think about it. Listen, let people engage with you. Here's the best advice I can give you when it comes to this. And I love this. The next time you go on a demo drive and you're sitting in the back seat, there's 2 people there, 2 buyers. Don't say a word. See how long you can go, or the drive can go without anybody saying a word. I'll be shocked if you get more than 30 seconds into this drive before one of them speak. They're going to speak to each other. They're going to speak to you. They're controlling the dialogue. You're listening. Another reason is there's a lack of credibility on the part of the salesperson. I think we mentioned that. And the worst part of all, why people will object to you, is if they catch you in a lie. Don't ever, 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 ever lie to a customer. You will get caught. It will not be in your best interest. So with that said, let me just see if I have any other final notes on here I want to go over. I think we went over everything. There are a lot of questions popping in. Let me grab some of these questions real quick. How are we doing on time? We got another 5-8 minutes. Gordon wants to know, would trial closing give you a good indication of what the objection is earlier on so you can deal with it sooner? I think you're trying to say rather than later. Okay. I don't believe in trial closes. I never have, never will. You will never change my mind. To ask a customer at the end of the presentation and demonstration if we can come together on terms and numbers, you're ready to buy the car, is the worst thing we have ever taught you to do. It is customer comes in defensive. We did a great job presentation, $70,000 presentation, $50,000 car. I like you. I like the car. I like the process. Now you lay that on me and I say, no, if we can come together in terms of numbers, you're ready to buy the car today? I'd say, no, not today. Just started my shopping process. It's too premature to ask. And then I ask my managers, where do you want the salesperson to close the car deal? At the desk or on the lot? And they say, oh, at the desk. Then why would you ask the closing question on the lot? Because you just asked me if I'd buy the car if the terms and numbers were right. And I don't know. You have to tell me this. How many people actually say yes? Do I believe some people say yes? Absolutely. Do I think it's a lot? No. But that's my perception. I couldn't give you a factual information on that. You have to look at that. See, I would rather at the end of the presentation just say, great, I'd like to show you something we're real proud of here at the dealership. And I'd take you in for a 6-minute service walk. And then I'd sit you down at my desk. I know you love the car. Why? Because I watched the expression on your face. We went on a 30-minute demonstration drive. We had great conversation and dialogue. I saw the way you stood outside the car after the drive, the way you eyeballed it up and down. I know you like the car. I know you want the car. But I'm not going to ruin my chances. I've brought your defenses all the way down. Why would I trial close you throughout the process? going on a demo ride and asking you questions like, where's the first place you're going to take your car on a trip? Who's the first person you're going to show your new car to? That doesn't, those aren't warm and fuzzy words. That's pressure. And that makes people object. What's Patty saying? Patty wants to know, do you endorse the process of repeat, isolate, if I could, would you, and overcome? No, I do not. Why would you repeat somebody's objection? All you're doing is reinforcing it in their mind. How do you isolate it? Customer says the payment's too high. So what you're saying is the payment's too high. Yeah. How do you isolate that? And where's the overcome part? And then the if I could, would you? So if I could save you $10 a month, would you buy the car? No, not for 10. Would you do it for 20? No, not for 20. And then you get stuck. Well, what number did you have in mind? And now I give you a number $100 less. And now you're in no man's land. No. And for those of you that are active on our site, you know, you've got your video courses on overcoming objections. I go over all of that for you, all of that. Matt wants to know, if I don't ask my customer what their payment rate is during the qualification, won't I increase my chance of getting a payment objection? No, I don't believe that at all, Matt. You know, think about this. What is going to be easier for you to do? Customer comes in and they have a true budget of $500. You ask them what their budget is and they tell you $400. So you show them a $400 car. Or let's take the reverse. You don't ask. Their budget is $500, but they end up landing themselves on a $600 car. Which customer would you rather have? The customer at the $400 that doesn't like the car, or the customer at the $600 that loves the car? I'd rather have the customer at the $600 that loves the car. They're going to find a way to buy it. But that one on that $400 car, that customer's not buying that car no matter what. I don't care what you do, how good you're overcoming it. Your odds are less than 1% of selling that person a car. When I do a meet and greet, I just ask a couple of questions. I just want to know, are you thinking of a new or used car? Great, new. If you have multiple franchises, I'd ask them if there's a franchise they prefer. And then I'd want to know, you thinking of a coupe, a sedan, a minivan, utility vehicle, a truck? Truck, great. Come on, let's go look at trucks. Oh man, you're lucky. I got 7 trucks in stock, or 10 or 12 or whatever you have. Let's go look. Come on, let's get excited. Walk them over to the trucks and stop talking. Let that customer look at the trucks on their own. Let them look at window stickers. They'll ask questions. Don't you ask questions, because now they're going to get defensive. All right. Eric wants to know, do you think assumptive, we spelled that really crazy, close is a good technique to get a signature? No. And I'm not saying, Eric, that it doesn't work. It works some of the time. I'm not an assumptive closer. I'm not, aren't you excited? Sign here, press hard, 3 copies. That's just not me. I just want to ask. I just do. I'm single for a very long time. I love to go on dates. I had no problems getting a girl to go on a date with me. Why? Because I asked her for the date. I was very kind, polite, courteous. And when she said no, I wasn't rude or disrespectful. If I met a girl, I started talking. I had no problem at the end saying, hey, you seem like a really nice person. Would you like to join me for dinner one night? I think we'd have fun. Nobody is offended by that. What would be offensive is if at the end of the conversation, I said, hey, I'll pick you up Friday at 7 o'clock. We're going to go out for dinner. That can be taken by some people wrong. Why take that chance? All right, 2 more. Rob, what if someone says they want to go drive other cars before they make their final decision? What would you do? Well, Rob, you're not going to like my answer with that one. I can tell you that right now. I'm going to let them go drive other cars. That's just me personally. And I know your managers and my managers on right now are going to say, holy cow, why would you say that? Because this is what I think. And it's my opinion. If you get 100 people that say, I want to go drive other cars, I think you'd be lucky to stop 3, 4, or 5 of them from doing so. But I'll tell you this, if you tried to push them and you irritated them, I think your odds of getting 3, 4, or 5 to come back to you it would be a miracle. Feel good about your presentation. I keep going back to that. $60,000 presentation on a $50,000 car. And then when the customer leaves, you know what? 2 hours later, go out and send them a video of the car. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, so much fun having you around today. Thought I'd shoot this quick video of the car. This is what we looked at today, blah, 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 blah. If you have any questions, you can, don't hesitate to call. Put it on YouTube, send it as a link. You're doing what the other salespeople aren't doing, especially if you know that they're at the dealership now. What a great thing to interrupt that other salesperson's process if they'll look at their phone. To me, There are certain times you have to let somebody leave. And when somebody, it's like the spousal thing. When a male or a female come in the end, they say, listen, I've got to talk to my spouse. I mean, how many times are they going to let you drive the car to their spouse or take the car to, yeah, we try that stuff. I don't know if it works. Feel confident in yourself. Let them go talk. They'll be back. All right, one more. Jamie says, how do you, oh, that's funny. How do you handle someone that wants to speak to their spouse? That's good, Jamie. I let them go speak to their spouse. I mean, I do what I have to do. I will tell you one time I did this. This is really cool. And I can tell you in about a minute or less. I was actually at a dealership and it was the middle of the winter. And this dealership had a Mustang convertible up for sale. And there was a guy that had driven by and he came in and he saw it and he drove it and they had a great time. And I was in the dealership doing some training and I was standing at the podium with the managers and the salesperson came up and explained the situation. And he said, he's traveling. They live in the Carolinas. This was up in Philadelphia, actually. But they happen to be looking for something similar to this. And, he needed to talk to his wife. So I said, great, I got a great idea. See, let's face facts here. The guy was not going to buy the car right then and there on the spot. So what I had to do is I had to ensure that he would come back. So I said, I got a great idea. And when I talked to the guy, I said, come on, let's go out to the car. And I took my cell phone. I didn't even give the guy a chance. I put on video and I said to the guy, let's do this. Sell the car to your wife. And he goes, okay. And he got up there. He says, hey, honey, listen, I'm at this dealership. This is what they got. Da, 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 da. He went over the whole thing and, about a 50-second video. And I said, great. We posted it on my YouTube channel. I sent him the link. I said, here, go send that to your wife. And could we follow up with you tomorrow? Is it okay if I text you tomorrow? He was like, yeah, absolutely. Sure. You see, I had his cell phone number because the only way I was going to get him the link was to text him the YouTube video. So I had his cell phone number. Now, to be honest with you, I don't want to lie to you. I don't remember if the guy bought the car. I think he did. This was a while ago. So don't hold me to that. But so what? I tried the best I could. I walked away from that situation saying I did everything I could to be creative to overcome that objection. But I knew one thing for sure. There was no way he was going to buy that car that night without having a more detailed conversation with his wife. So why do customers object? Because of us. It's not because of the numbers. It's because of us. We get our act in line. And guess what? It's going to be easier and we're going to sell more cars. Thank you all for joining me today. I hope you're all doing well, being safe, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.